If the world is becoming one where eventually we can actually do some serious work on the genetics of language.
What's been going on for the last many years in my research is characteristically taking some feature that seems to be universal of language and then examine it to see if it is unique to language, or is it the result or the effect of some other property of human cognition.
Questions found at the nexus of perception, language, and reasoning are central to the work of University of Arizona Regents professor Thomas Bever. He is one of the founding fathers of the interdisciplinary field of cognitive science.
Well, why should there be a canonical form?
He's a name that is known in linguistics and psychology all around the world.
For over 45 years, Bever's work has shaped the fields of theoretical linguistics, cognitive neuroscience, and developmental psychology.
He's such an influential figure. A lot of his original papers from his early days as a professor are still regular reading in undergraduate courses, even today.
Early on, Bever departed from his father's plan.
I knew I wasn't going to go to medical school.
He found fun and fascination just about everywhere, whether watching ants exchange information.
There'd be this moment where they go like this together, and then they go on their way.
Or further, doing theater lighting, almost steamrolling his Harvard education.
I was in great demand. So by the end of my sophomore year, I was flunking out. I got a great education in Shakespeare, though.
But there was an element of foreshadowing to his pioneering work in psycholinguistics.
Book, my first linguistics text, which I actually inherited from my older brother, which got me started at the age of 4. And in fact, it even had a little modern linguistics in it, so I was doomed.
Bever studied with cognitive science pioneer George Miller and linguist Raymond Jacobson. And he was able to witness the revolt against behaviorism led in part by Noam Chomsky.
I thought Chomsky was the smartest thing I'd ever heard or seen. I mean, he was a kid. He was 10 years older than me.
Bever was pursuing his PhD in psychology at MIT when he was invited to join the first graduate class in linguistics with Chomsky. Bever then created the world's first course in modern psycholinguistics.
These 2 examples or 3 examples show that the construction itself has some kind of generative complexity to it.
I think that I'm a little bit intimidating for students. And so the result is that I tend to get smart ones.
He's had experience in thinking about both these really neurological issues and the cognitive issues, different aspects of psycholinguistics. He also just has that vast background of work and information and experience that he can draw on.
You're not actually doing anything.
A great deal of the work I do, especially now, is driven by an interest on the part of a student. So whether I do research at any given time on music or on some aspects of visual perception, or some aspects of child development, all of which are areas that I have worked in, is really a function of what student happens to turn up who's interested in what.
One project allowed Bever and his students to study brain scans, revealing how individuals process words in a series. Do we perceive them individually or lexically? Or process them strung together syntactically? What makes the difference is whether you are right or left-handed. Furthermore, if left-handedness runs in the family, your word processing style may be similarly affected even if you are right-handed.
In the right hemisphere of people with familial left-handedness, there was a priority for the lexical task.
You could try to write.
The idea that there are
like
genetically controlled differences in how we organize language may have implications for stroke and aphasia therapies.
The notion of tracking the familial handedness is almost unheard of. And yet we have evidence that there really is some major difference in the neurological organization for language.
Bever was recently recognized with a Humboldt Prize for his fundamental discoveries in innovative research.
For us is which kind
With his impressive list of inquiry, from familial handedness to syntax and motion to why children choose to learn language, how does he also find time to create and patent software to help readers?
Well, the implication of your question is that I have ADHD. And you're right. I think it's fair to say that to some extent I'm a workaholic. And the university is a very supportive place if you want to do research and you want to work with colleagues in different disciplines. It's very easy here to do that.